Today I'm going to talk about Speedpaint pens and markers, paint markers, the AK interactive play markers, looking really at the convenience of these. They get dismissed a lot because they may not produce quite as good results as with a brush, and people see them as gimmicky, and I don't agree with that. I think there is a place for them if you apply them differently and use some of the tips and tricks that I'm going to show you in this video, and approaching them more like glazes as opposed to like just cover all, end all, that's it. If you want to speed paint it and slap chop it up, that is fine, but you can elevate the results you get if you just approach it a little bit differently. Hiya, welcome to my channel, Lucky Whopper Inventions. It's a digital artwork and miniature painting channel. So the way I approach it is more like colouring in, as opposed to just a stressful work through of when you don't have to think as much. You know, when you're colouring in, when you're painting, it's brush stroke. The way this is done is quite therapeutic. So to start off with, what we're using are the Speedpaint markers and also the AK interactive play markers, and then an acrylic set of paint pens that you can get from Amazon. It's a big case, about £20, and yeah, they're good. I will say with the markers, when the acrylic markers, when you take them out and you look at the lid, they're not going to be as dark as that. They're quite kind of really bright, like opacity, added white into for good coverage, obviously. And the other thing these are good for is if you want to get your kids into the hobby, get them a set of paint pens, because it's just so easy for them to pick them up and put it on the model. And I've done it with my daughter, and she actually really likes it. So that's always a good thing. So we're going to start off. So I've got a little wood bowl gnome that I'm painting up is like a steampunk style. So they're really cute, and I think it's just fitly with this kind of watercolour feel to it. So to start off, what we're going to do is spray the primer black. I also do a magenta spray. You can do blue if you want like a colder shadow, like undead or something like that. It can look really nice. After that, you'll do an ivory or white, dry brush it or sponge it. You know, you basically just want to leave the final cracks and crevices as the black. This can all be done in the space of a half hour. You know, a quick sponge of the white, or if you want to just get a spray right over the top. I will say that you want to do a generous zenithal of your colour, because the pens are so transparent. You really want mainly the cracks to have that magenta, not just like the lower end of the model. And then once we've got that, we use our other little trick that is the secret and unlocks the power of the power of the Speedpaint pens, and that is a water brush. Really soft tip. This is what you're going to use to basically calm down the application of Speedpaint, because the way they're designed is to slop it over a slap chop, but that's not what we're wanting. We want to start with the highlights. We want to come in really soft and then build on those layers into the shadow. So what you're going to do is add in this glaze of just water, and then when you add the pens, when you add the tip of the Speedpaint, it comes out and it's really faint, and that serves as your highlight. Then you can go in and do stippling or brush strokes. You can either wait for it to dry, which will be a little bit longer because generally Speedpaints dry quicker, but if you do this method, it will prolong the drying time, which is actually to our benefit. We want that drying time to be extended so that it's not going to leave a lot of brush strokes as you're doing the work, and so that you can blend it. So after you do your little glaze, I like to keep it wet. If you make a mistake, you just apply this, like a little mistake here and there. It's not a big deal because you're using such faint pigment. And like I say, this isn't super fast. If you want fast, you do the normal slap chop. But if you want this kind of style of painting to come out, for the convenience and not having to bring out all your pots of paints, all your brushes, you just want to pick up, take a lid off, get to work. this is for you, and you can get, like I say, you can take a tray up to bed, do your models there when you're sitting watching a movie. It's a different feel, it's relaxing, you can get a different colour or so, and you just dabble it on again, just add more and more. I would wait, I like to wait once my top highlight is dry before I go in again with the water, and do it gently because you can reactivate the paint if you and you don't need to really scrub very hard at the model to get that layer of water. So you just add another layer over the region that you're painting. The object here's the hat, and then I'll just add some more gradually off of the highlight down towards the shadow. And that's bringing out the paint in a very controlled way. It's using that water to bring it into the recesses as well. And I just stipple in the blue down towards the deeper shadows. Use the little water brush to just blend that together. You know, careful not to take the paint away, but if you do, you just add more. It's a really comfortable. Sooner or later, you have a really nicely saturated layering of just the glazing on it, and it comes out really nice. Skin tones are great as well, and yeah, because we've got that magenta base, it's not going to be all desaturated, and when you add more colours of shadows onto that, it really comes out. And then you can bring out markers, and that's really if you want to really punch the highlights a bit. You need to be careful with these because the opacity is really high. The drying time, if you add water, it doesn't really give you the forgiveness of the paint. You can do it, but just be warned, get some practice in. I like these pens that I use because they have like the dual tips. So one end is actually, you wouldn't think it's good for details, but it's such a firm felt pen that you get that edge highlight, and that's really nice. And then the other is more the brush, which can come in handy as well. So as you do it, like you put a wee stipple or like a little stroke of the paint pen on it, and then you can actually just quickly dab it with your finger, and that blends it in. Or add a little bit of water to the brush, just try to blend that, smooth it, and it will look really nice. If it's really stark contrast, you can go over it again, and that's also with the speed paint. You know, just like you were doing your initial highlight, blend that in a little bit. Don't rush it. There's no rush. Why is there rush? You know, you're not. This is a relaxation thing. This is a thing where you're managing to get your models painted when you shouldn't be. You know, like when so it's a different feel. Take it easy. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process as it forms. You can do OSL as well. It's actually really good for OSL. You just start again with the highlights, and then I would bring up the colour as it moves away from the light source, like white or very light yellow to orange and red, or yellow to orange red, and then come over it with a glaze of the speed paint pen. And you don't have to add too much water to it. You can add the pen and then add the water over it to just get rid of the regions that you didn't want it in. You do have to work quite fast if you're not using the water initially, but it's a little bit forgiving, and you'll learn to do that. And it's not always you need to get used to what speed paint pens are good for this. Like if you do it with like grey, yeah, obviously you're not going to do that over fire with grey, but you're going to get a bit less forgiveness than if you did it with a lighter colour like pallid bone. So pallid bone is great for it. See for that transition of things, it can be really nice. So definitely do that. The next stage we get to is the metallics, and the AK Interactive Play Markers are fantastic for metallics. They give a really nice finish. I will say they come out of the brush tip. It is most like a paintbrush. It's not particularly high detailed for me, but yeah, that might just be me. And it is very, it comes out very fast. I like to wick it off in a paper towel and just get that basically a bit drier, so when you put it on the model, it's not all like, whoa, bogging up the details. It's also really good, see, for like basin and terrain. Wow, you know. So definitely, if you take one thing from the video and you're not into using other process, just get a set of metallics AK for bases. If you're doing any metal bases or terrain, it's a real lifesaver. Yeah, so I'll do that, and then after that I'll again go back to the speed paints with a darker colour like runic grey or even the grim black, and basically just make a wash by adding the water and then adding the speed paint into the cracks, and then basically wicking off the bits that aren't meant to have the speed paint on it as it dries, you know, and then maybe going in with the water again just to clean it again, and it can end up really good. It just goes to show this kind of model this was a small model. It's a gnome, and the detail you can actually finish off with a ballpoint pen or such tip just to mark in the pupil. I hope you try it out, because I think if any of those constraints apply to you in any way, these can push you in the direction of getting models painted. So yeah, this is my finished model. Really punchy. You can see the details. One tip I learned quite recently is that you need to really pump the brightness and saturation of models. Like obviously you think, oh, everyone knows that, but no, because we're usually painting under really bright light, and when you take it into normal daylight, it looks hard to see those crisp details. So punch it a little bit more or paint in a darker environment, and then that will show you what a model is going to look like when you're actually playing with it. So I hope you like this video. Please subscribe or like or comment, ask a question. That's the main point that I am doing these videos, because not just to help, but I love the community. I want to be a part of it. So if you've got something that you're not understanding about this video, or you want to talk something else, that's fine. Just fire me a wee message. And I can help you. So get the Speedpaint pens and try it out. I hope you like this video, and I'll be getting the next one out soon.